Welcome back, everyone. This is the Chapter 8 video where we're going to learn how to use the tools known as the DatePicker to pick a date and TimePicker to pick a time for scheduling. We're also going to use a tablet rather than use a cell phone as the emulator. That means you have to create a brand new device. The way you do that, to review, is you go here to the main menu selection in the top left, and then you go to the Tools menu. In the Tools menu, you select Device Manager. And your Device Manager window shows up over here. Now, as you can see, I've already added a tablet as a device. If you have not done that, you need to click on the plus sign to add a new device. And then create virtual device. Under category, you select tablet. And the tablet we're going to use is the Pixel tablet. Click next. Pick an API. I'm going to stick with API 35. Click next again. And then when you get to this page, you click finish. Now, I've already created this device, so I'm just going to click cancel since I've already created it. All right. Now, as far as the widgets on this project, I have, starting here, a text view, TXT title. I have another text view that's the description of the Sailing Adventures company, what they do. Here is a button, and here is another text view where the reservation information will be displayed. There's currently no text displayed in there. Now, I should mention that I did convert my layout from a constraint layout to a linear layout. The way you do that is you right-click on the constraint layout if it's there, and then you go to Convert View. And here you would pick linear layout for this particular project. I've already done that, so I'm not going to click the Apply button. Now, as far as the strings.xml is concerned, there are 4 attributes you need to create. One for the button, one for the sailing image that goes with the image, one for TXT title, and then this very long one, which is the description. The good news is, even though that's a very long one to have there, in the Chapter 8 PowerPoint slides, I set those up in a way that you can copy and paste this entire last long line into your strings.xml. So you don't have to type that whole thing. You can copy and paste it from the Chapter 8 PowerPoints. Speaking of typing things in, oh, one more widget I should mention. There is an image view here where this picture of a sailboat is. That's the other widget. The other thing I should mention is that I did not drag and drop anything into the component tree. Everything was done through XML codes. So we had to type in all the XML code. Let me show you. All right. So first of all, notice that it says linear layout here. Now, these activities I'm putting in this yellow box are activities that you have to type in. The layout width and layout height should be fill parent, but you may have to change those. But these down here, you will have to enter and type in. These are the only ones you need. If there are other attributes besides the ones you see here, you may delete them. Now, the other thing I should point out about this is that the linear layout tag is a 2-sided tag, but the closing tag for linear layout is all the way at the bottom. Everything else goes inside the beginning linear layout tag and this closing linear layout tag. Going back up, as you can see, the first thing we put here is the image view. All the code you need to type into the XML is in the Chapter 8 PowerPoints. I have screenshots of all the code you need to type. So don't worry about pausing this video every so often. All the code you need is in the PowerPoints, exactly as you see it here. So that displays the picture of the sailboat. Now, the interesting part of this is you need to type in what's known as a table layout. Within the linear layout and after the image view, there is a table layout. This is how we got the title text view, the description text view, the button, and then the results text view to be stacked one on top of the other. We put them into a table. So the first thing we do in the table layout is we set the layout width and height, as you can see here. And then we create 4 table rows. This is the first row that I just circled. You have a layout width, you have a view tag, which is one-sided, and then here is the text view for the title and all of its attributes. Now, a table row is a 2-sided tag, so you must have a closing table row tag for each row. That's row number 1. Directly after that, this is row number 2. This is the description text view with the really long thing that you can copy and paste into the strings.xml. Here is row number 3. This is for the button. And finally, here is row number 4, which is for the reservation information for that text view. Then, as you can see, after the last row has its closing tag, here is the closing tag for the table layout. And then finally, here is the closing tag for the linear layout. So all 4 rows of the table must be within the table layout. And the table layout must be within the linear layout. Please consult the Chapter 8 PowerPoint slides to know how to do this properly. Okay, that is all the XML code. And you get something that looks like this. Here is the Java code. And there's a pretty good amount of it here. All right, so let's see what we have. The first thing in the main activity class is we create a private text view object for the reservation. That's where its information will go. Then in the onCreate method, we have there's set content view. Here we are creating the reservation text view. We further define it. And then we also create the button object right there. And then, of course, here is the button set on click listener. Now, what's happening in the onClick method is we are creating a DatePicker dialog object. Let me explain what's going on here. You're going from the main activity. You're not going to a second page. There is an object D, which needs to be here for an actual DatePicker. Here we say we have c.get. Now, C is a calendar object, which is created a bit later in the code. I'll come to that in just a moment. We get the current year, 4 digits. We get the current month in digit form. January be a 1, February be a 2, and so on. And finally, you get the day of the month. And then, just like with our old friend Toast, you have to call a show method to display the DatePicker dialog. So this is what happens here. Now, to make all this work, as you'll notice, we have this object D and then this object C, which don't show up anywhere in the onCreate method. However, after the onCreate method, we do create them, because you see right here, this curly bracket is the end of the onCreate method, and here is my C object. It's of class calendar. We do calendar.getInstance. And then we're going to have a date format object right there. And this is how you create the date format object from the date format class. Now that you've done that, now we define that mysterious D. It is an onDateSetListener object. And you have to have this line here, and then you have a curly bracket. And here's what's going on. So This onDateSet method will automatically appear. Once you create your onDateSet listener, the onDateSet method with its parameters will appear automatically. You must then type in the code. You need these 3 lines for setting the year, the month, and the day of the month. Now in the PowerPoint slides, what was done was first we just did the date. And so we made sure the date was working. That's why this line has been commented out. But then we are also going to see how to get a time. Once we get a date, we're also going to get a time. The reason we did it this way is because in the original textbook that did this project that I'm showing you, they mentioned the TimePicker dialog, but then didn't show you any examples of how to use it. So I had to come up with those on my own research. So instead of just doing this set text, right after we set the year, the month, the day of month, then we're going to call this method. Let me erase that. We're going to create a TimePicker dialog object. And there's a mysterious object T, which is created just a little bit after this. And for that, we get the hour of the day and the minute. And then we have a true or false attribute that says, is this a 24-hour view? In other words, are you doing military time or regular time? False means you're not doing military time. And once again, you have a show method to display the TimePicker dialog. Once again, this Java code is within the Chapter 8 PowerPoints. So don't worry about scribbling it down here. It's all in the Chapter 8 PowerPoints. About that TimePicker dialog, here it all is. So here's the TimePicker dialog object, and we're calling an onTimeSetListener object. Here is the mysterious T. And we're creating an onTimeSetListener method. Just like with the date, once you create an onTimeSetListener, this onTimeSet method with its parameters will automatically appear. Now, what you do is you set the hour of day and the minute. However, I had to add some extra code. Despite this false trying to tell it, this false parameter that tells the TimePicker that we're not doing military time, it seemed to do that anyway. And what I'm doing here is I have a couple of string variables. AM, PM is just going to have either AM or PM. And then an extra 0, which is set to the null string. That's 2 quotation marks with nothing in between. There's not even a blank space there. So first I see if the hour of the day is bigger than or equal to 12, that means we're in PM. There's a blank space before PM. And if the hour of day is bigger than 12, we're subtracting 12 from the hour of day, because apparently it went to military time no matter what I tried to tell it. So this if right here is making sure we don't display military time. Now this else goes with this if up here. So if the hour of the day is not bigger than or equal to 12, we're still in morning, so we'll display an AM with a space in front. And finally, if the minute, this if is separate, if the minute is less than 10, we're going to put a 0 in front of that number. Originally, if you were doing anywhere from like 3 o'clock exactly up to 3:09, you'd get 3:9. It wouldn't display the 0 in front of the 9, so I had to put an extra 0 in front. And then finally, here is where you set the text. This is what will be displayed in the reservation text view. And here is where you use your date format. We always say get time, even if it's just a date. We always call the get time method. And here is where I put the hour of the day, and then the extra 0, and then the minute, and then the AM and the PM. Once again, all of this Java code, as you see it here, is within the Chapter 8 PowerPoints. Please use those as a reference. Okay, I'm going to try and run this program, and I will bring you back when it's ready to go. And we are back, and our tablet app is up and running. So here's the button. Let's schedule the date for a full day sailing trip. So I click this, and here is the date picker. I wish the font was a little bigger in this calendar, but it'll work. So all you do is click on whatever day you want to go sailing. I'm going to pick the 25th. And then you click OK in the bottom right. And right after that, here's the time picker. Now, the first thing you should do is select AM or PM. I'll stick with AM. And now you click on this filled in circle and move this to whatever hour you want. And then when you let go of the mouse button, it switches to the minutes from 0 to 55. I'm going to go with 11:15. And then I will say OK. And here is my reservation. It's set for August 25th, 2025 at 11:15 a.m. That's how you use a tablet with a date picker and a time picker in Android Studio. If you have any questions, please send me an email at kmuldrow@lbcc.edu.